What's up, y'all? This is Raygee of Southeast Cartel, and today I'm gonna be doing a little Q&A video in celebration of me dropping my EP coming out very soon, okay? So watch until the end where I'll be announcing the title and of course the release date. So here we go. Now these questions have been given to me by fans and supporters, so I'm gonna be going through maybe 5 of them, and I'm sorry if I didn't end up answering your question, alright? I'm trying to keep it short. So here we go. Who are your Filipino and non-Filipino musical influences? So being an artist, I've had a lot of influences since I was young, but I always say that there's 2 that I always recognize, because I feel like without these 2 I would never have been leaned towards hip-hop. So the first one on the Filipino side is the Dongalo records. When I was here in Canada, growing up, I didn't really listen to hip-hop. When I heard Stupid Love, like I was hooked, because like the cadence, the flow, the style of Tagalog as a rap, it got me, right? And obviously the hook was just killer on that song. So that was the first song I got into by Salbakuta, and then after that I just kind of listened to more and more of them, and Andrew E and Reza Manaz, and they basically got me to fall in love with Filipino hip-hop and Tagalog as rap. When it comes to non-Filipino music influence, first and foremost, it's gotta be Tupac. So let me give you guys a quick story of how I actually heard Tupac and why he's a big influence in my life. So when I was a kid, I only listened to music that my parents would listen to. And being Filipino, my parents are listening to all of that karaoke hits, all those karaoke classics. So I was listening to Chicago, Elton John, Bee Gees, Air Supply, all these people. So that's what I was a fan of. And I heard about hip-hop before from my friend Gino, Frankie. And you know, at that point I didn't really feel hip-hop or rap actually, because most of the time they were just talking about like money, drugs, clothes, women. And at that age, like 7 or 8, I wasn't really into all that stuff yet. So I wanted to hear stuff that I could relate to. So one night, I woke up at around 1 or 2 in the morning. And when I was a kid, when I used to sleep, I would also always turn on my radio, and I would listen to a channel called Easy Rock, 97.3 Easy Rock. And they would play all those soft rock hits all night long. So that's what I would listen to fall asleep. But this particular night, I woke up at 1 or 2 in the morning. I don't know why, but I felt like there's a reason, you know, like it was meant to be. Because I woke up listening to Changes by Tupac. And the first thing I remember hearing, aside from the piano, da-na-na, da-na-na, da-da, was the hook, right? That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah. And I heard that, I'm like, wow, like that's, you know, pretty deep. You know, even as a young kid, I thought that was pretty deep. And then when Pac came in and he started talking about like oppression, the government, political issues, I was like, I didn't realize hip-hop could talk about those kinds of stuff, right? Because what I heard prior to that was not that, basically. And when I heard that, I don't think I was an intellectual kid, but it just related to me. Like I felt what he was saying, you know? And from then on, that's when I realized hip-hop is just more than like money, cars, and jewels, and women. That there's messages and there's positive stuff that you could talk about in it too. And that's what basically got me listening to more and more hip-hop. Next question. Who eats the most in SEC? Alright, so to me, I think it's like a tie, right? I'll tell you why it's kind of a tie. So there's 2. It's Biggs and Keith, okay? So when we eat out, Biggs, he eats a lot in general, okay? Like the ulam. He eats a lot of the ulam and, you know, maybe a decent amount of rice. But when it comes to Keith, he doesn't eat all the ulam, right? If we had maybe 4 or 5 dishes, he'll only eat like 2, right? Whereas Biggs will eat from all 5, right? Keith will eat from like 2 of them, but he always orders extra rice, right? To the point that we started calling him Mr. Extra Rice, because he always orders extra rice. So it's a tie between both, because I think quantity wise they might be eating the same, but it's like they have a preference on what they eat. And I don't know, Biggs and Keith, you guys can talk more about it, because even they argue sometimes on who eats more and who's fatter than the other. So shout out to those guys, man. Love y'all. Next question. What are your computer specs? So the one I have right behind me is pretty brand new. I mean, not brand new. I bought it used, but it's brand new here in the studio. Shout out to Jape from Jam Studio for hooking me up, bro. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. So the one behind me, it's a i5 3.2 gigahertz quad core, 6 gigs of RAM, and this has actually been able to handle a lot of stuff I would throw at it. So for all my audio engineers out there, you know, the more plugins and channels you create on your software, the more it'll take up processing power and might slow your computer down. So this one, I'd say there's only maybe 2 or 3 times that it's ever slowed down on me, but apart from that, it's been awesome. So before this computer, the one that we used to record Black Sheep and the what's it called, the one with 727 Southeast Click, I did it on the old computer, and that one I think it was like a 2.9 gigahertz AMD quad core processor with 16 gigs of RAM. So the RAM wasn't a problem, but it was a processor. It wasn't capable of handling more of the workload that I needed it to. So what I would do on those, for example, if I have a vocal channel, right, and I had maybe 4 or 5 plugins onto it, those plugins are slowing down my computer, right, due to all the processing. So what I would do is I would create a different recording channel, and I would bounce out or record that vocal channel into this new channel. So I would record all of the effects, all of the plugins, so exactly the way it sounds, into this new channel. So I basically have whatever I mixed with on that vocals on this new channel, but without the need for the plugins. So I would just disable that vocal channel and keep that new recorded channel that I have. And I did this a lot actually, because I started using way more plugins to get specific sounds that I wanted, or specific effects. So I would say when I had that computer, I would do it to 95% of the mixes, bounce something out, just so that the computer won't slow down. So if that is happening to you, and I already talked to the person who asked me about this, that was my trick to getting it work. So try that and hopefully it works for you. Next question. What is the difference between a rapper and MC? So for me, a rapper is someone who writes their own bars and then spits it and delivers it, right? I'm not talking about if you're a dope rapper or not, just if you're a rapper. That's my point of view, okay? An MC is more on the performing aspect. You being able to rock the crowd, entertain the crowd, and make them feel the way you want them to feel. So there are artists out there, really dope artists, that are not that good of an MC, and there are other really good MCs that are not that dope of an artist. In my opinion, if you want to be one of the best, one of the greatest to ever do it, you need to be good at both. So that's just my advice for you rappers and MCs out there. Don't just stick to one of the specific craft, or rely on one specific craft. Make sure you learn, educate, and train yourself to be good at both. Alright? And now to the last question. What is the situation of Pinoy rap outside of Philippines? Okay, so I can't really speak outside of Canada, Toronto specifically, because I haven't been outside of Canada and Philippines to witness Filipino rap face to face, or to be physically there. So I can't really speak too much about like American hip-hop, Filipino hip-hop, Japanese Filipino hip-hop, Chinese Filipino hip-hop, all this stuff. So whatever I'm gonna say right now, it's gonna be my point of view, and kind of really only talk about my experience from Toronto and Canada, okay? So from what I could see, there's a lot of dope Filipino artists out there. Not just back home, but all over the world. They all have the potential to blow up, to make it big, to gain fans and to be successful. But the only thing that's really lacking in our community is the business mindset, the marketing, basically everything that you need to be part of the industry, to succeed in the industry. So being able to market your music, knowing the business side on how to make money off of your music, off of your name, off of your image, how to promote your stuff, how to work with different businesses, different brands, all of that stuff. I feel like the Filipino rap community is still learning how to do that. I mean, we can put out really dope music, put out dope classics, dope hits that people around the world, fellow Filipinos, appreciate it. But for us to be able to gain, monetary success, for example, become a superstar, like the superstars back home that are known all over the globe, or even superstars like Kendrick, J. Cole, Drake, all of that, we need to learn those aspects as well and educate ourselves, or at the very least find people that we trust, that we can rely on, that will do those things for us. Because as far as I can see, the Filipino rap community is still learning. When I was younger, in high school, we were all learning the music aspect, creating our craft, perfecting our craft, and then the technical stuff as well, like recording and creating quality music, producing, all of that stuff. That to this point, a lot of the artists have already mastered it. Even the new generation has mastered it. But the one thing that we all haven't mastered yet is the industry side. So once we're able to do that, man, the sky's the limit. Alright, so thank you very much for sticking with me as I answered those questions. And here it goes. The official title of the EP and the date release. So you guys ready? Let's get some drum roll, please. And this EP is called the Young Dreams EP, and it's basically YONGE, Young, as in Young Street, which is the street that I grew up in ever since I moved here to Canada, and that I always hung around, or that I always related to. And then dreams, obviously being a dream chaser, going for my goals, right? Young dreams. And yeah, this EP, I would say, is telling my story, but at the same time me giving out messages and giving out knowledge and talking about my experience. Fellow dream chasers, fellow artists, all of you guys, your go-getters, hopefully can take this EP, listen to it, and inspire you guys to keep moving, to not give up. Be on the lookout, March 18th, and I'll give you guys a date, or sorry, the specific time it'll drop as the days come closer to that release, okay? So once again, thank you very much to all the fans and the supporters of me, of SEC, and of course of Filipino hip-hop, because without y'all, we wouldn't be where we are today. So till next time, peace.
Sometimes, man, I feel like I'm Picasso. Leonardo, homie, with the hot flow. Michelangelo, the way I rock, though. When I get to working in this booth, I feel like Pablo.